Hi, this is Rich Clark. I just want to make a brief video about the precinct mass meetings that are coming up here in Georgia for the Republican Party on February 9th, and just kind of talk about what we can maybe do to get ready in the next 2 weeks and where my head's kind of at as far as moving forward. So just want to preface it with a couple articles that I found online. You may have seen this, but there was a NBC/Wall Street Journal poll that found that 26% of people polled found the Republican Party and looked upon the Republican Party favorably, whereas 49% were displeased with the party. Contrast that with the Democrat Party, which was 44% favorable and 38% displeased with the party, with the Democratic Party. So the Republican Party's brand is really in decline right now, and of course on the surface they at least seem to know this. I read a Yahoo article yesterday where they spoke about the fact that the RNC has put up a site where there's a questionnaire. Basically they're asking the public to give them input on how to do things better, and you love this. Some of the topics which they ask in the poll for advice on are this is the part of their growth and opportunity project. 5 tasks for advice: diversity in the party, right? Party's positions on issues, how the party communicates with voters, and the process of selecting the best candidates. So I'm sure that everyone watching this video will have sort of a earful to give them on that. You can go to their website and fill out that poll. But despite it's probably just a total PR stunt, I doubt they actually really care about this stuff or pay attention to it, especially when you consider the email that we got from our chair of our county, from Joe Dendy, where, well, here I'll read a paragraph from it for you. So it says, Republicans believe in smaller government, lower taxes, strong national defense, and personal responsibility. We believe in supporting and working to elect Republican candidates, and after which we believe in holding these elected officials responsible. We are not, in bold letters, Democrats nor Libertarians. We are Republicans, and although it may not be perfect, it's our bold party. So every true Republican is invited to participate in the precinct mass meetings, which will be held on February 3rd, 2013 at Roswell Street Baptist Church. So even though the party says it wants diversity and new ideas, clearly it's quite happy with the way things are. So let me just speak to the mass precinct meetings now that we're talking about that. So most of the people that are watching this probably have been to a mass precinct meeting before. If not, it's pretty straightforward. Here's what you expect. You show up, you get there on time. I do believe it's at 9 in the morning. Either no later than 9 in the morning. I'll get that details and put them in the description below. So you'll go in, you'll register, you'll sit down at a table, which is every precinct in the county will have its own table. And there's a lot of them. I think there's well over 100, I think 126 precincts in Cobb County. And the precinct is basically the smallest political area, smallest political unit. So you vote at some church or public library or school in your precinct, and so it's about 1,500 to 2,000 voters, somewhere in there, I think. So it's a very small political entity. It's called the precinct, and then multiple precincts are built into state house districts, and then state senate districts, then U.S. congressional districts, and so forth. But the precinct is the building block. So you'll be sitting in your precinct with other people that live in your precinct. So if you're in a table with other people in your precinct, these people are people that live right around you. They're your neighbors. They're your, they live in your subdivisions, etc. So you'll find your precinct and you'll sit down at your precinct. And basically all you have to expect, and most people have been through this, who've watched this, but in case you haven't, you just sit down. You may start a conversation with whoever's sitting there, and at some point, whoever the precinct chairman is, or acting precinct chairman, will get an envelope, pass out some pieces of paper. This piece of paper will have a list of blanks on it, This is the paper which delegates or signs people up to be delegates to the county convention, which is held on March 9th. So you'll sign your name on that, and whoever else's name you want, wife, kids, friends, whoever's come with you. In fact, you don't even have to be at the mass precinct meeting to have your name written in. So if you know somebody who just can't make it, but can make it to the county convention, no problem, just sign them up. So something new that nobody here has experienced, nobody watching this probably has experienced for the county, is this is an odd-numbered year. So there will be an additional order of business for the precinct mass meetings. Each precinct is going to choose its 4 officers, and the way they are chosen is through election. So each precinct gets a precinct chairman, a precinct vice chairman, a precinct treasurer, and a precinct secretary. So our goal during this cycle is to get as many of these low-level precinct positions as possible, and I'll explain why. I have with me a copy of the Cobb County Republican Committee rules, right? So that is the rules for the Cobb County Party. So section 3.2, it deals with something called the Republican County Committee. The Cobb County Republican Committee shall be vested with all the duties, powers, and privileges possessed by the Cobb County Republican Convention. While in session, the Cobb County Republican Committee shall act for the Republican Party of Cobb County, Incorporated. So, the committee meetings, which I do believe are biannual, have the same power as a convention, right? It's pretty cool. So they can change rules, elect officials, do resolutions, all the stuff you can do at a convention, you can do at these county committee meetings. Now listen to this. The Cobb County Republican Committee shall consist of the following voting members. The following officers of the Cobb County Republican Committee: A. Chair, B. First Vice Chair, C. Second Vice Chair, D. Secretary, E. Assistant Secretary, F. Treasurer, G. Assistant Treasurer, H. I. J. K. L. M. N. O. P. Q. R. The Chair, Vice Chair, Secretary, and Treasurer of each precinct are voting members on the county committee. 4 officers. When you become an officer at your precinct level, you are an officer of the Republican Party. So, and you are a voting officer. Now, these elections, which take place for these 4 people, I mean, if you can manage to bring 4 people with you, you may be the only 4 people in your precinct. As I said before, 26% of the people view the Republican Party favorably. And let's just face it, the Republican Party's faced a big loss this year. I think that the reason Dendy had that language in his email is because they're scared that their people are just not going to show up. I mean, it's an off year. They're disheartened. So you may be able to just vote yourselves the 4 positions, and bam, you've got 4 members on the Republican committee. And I mean, 1 precinct worth of officers has the same vote as the chair, first vice chair, second vice chair, and secretary of the party. So that's a fairly interesting fact for you to consider. Now, I'd like to speak just briefly to the office itself of precinct chairman, or any of the under offices in the precinct. It's really considered to be a nothing position. Like, nobody really cares about them. Not really considered to be very powerful or anything. It's the lowest elected position. But here's the thing. You are an elected official for the party, and you do get one interesting tool. And I uploaded a video a few weeks ago when I sent an email out by Jim Robinson, and I posted a link to that below here. And basically, and I've made it fast forward to this part that's pertinent because it's kind of long. So if you click on that link, it'll take you right to the part that goes into this in detail. But you get access to the, I'll summarize, you get access to the RNC Voter Vault, which is the Republican National Committee's database of voters. And it is a wealth of information. It's not perfect, but it's a starting place. And basically, they'll give you the RNC Voter Vault access to your precinct. So you'll have the information of every voter in your precinct, how they voted as far as primaries goes. You know, they strong Republican, hard Democrat, etc., etc. What you can do is you can use that information to make some things happen. Using this RNC voter vault list, and Jim Robinson goes into this in that video on exactly how to approach this. But you can reach out to these people in your precinct. You have an excuse to do so because you're an elected officer of the Republican Party. Most of these people haven't ever had an elected official call them or come to their door or anything like that. So they'll be happy to talk to you, even if you are just the precinct chairman. Most people, especially now, with most Republicans being enraged over November. And then here's where I'd like to zoom out and talk a little bit about some big picture stuff. And this can affect you. Not only can you reach out to these people and maybe bring them into the party or bring them into your circle of influence. We all know that this nation's in for a trying time in the next generation. Probably in the next 5 to 10 years. And the breakdown of the community has really been at the heart of a lot of these things. And nobody knows who their neighbor is anymore. Nobody knows who lives on their street. I mean, some people do. You may. But by and large, people just kind of keep to themselves. So I would like to propose that not only is this building, possible people for activism, a list of possible people for activism in the future, and getting a political cause somewhere, but even on a personal level, right? For you, for your family, to get to know the people who live around you, if you know hard times are coming, that's something that could be worth a lot. You never know when you might need help, and one thing about our movement, I've met so many good people that I know that if something happened, I could turn to them and get help, or likewise, they could turn to me if they need help, and I'd be more than happy to help them. It's all about knowing people and people helping you in times of need, or you helping them, etc. So if you don't know anybody in your precinct or around, this is a great way to help to try and build a community around you, to get to know people around you, okay? It's an excuse to call them up on the phone or knock on the door and say, hey, my name is so-and-so, I'm with the Republican Party, just want to talk to you about some things. And Jim Robinson goes into some detail on exact methods of reaching out to people that you don't know and talking to them. So that's kind of my spiel on the precinct mass meetings. Now, like I said, these elections, to become precinct chairman, precinct treasurer, precinct vice chair, those 4 offices, and secretary, like I said, you don't need many people. So if you have neighbors you do know, ask them to come. You don't have to explain to them that you're part of a movement that's really trying to hold the Republican Party to its principles and all that. You can say all this stuff, whatever you think will get them to come, but you can say, hey, will you come vote for me? Will you come vote for me to become the chairman of this precinct? All you have to do is show up this day, and they'll come. And it serves 2 purposes at once. One, it helps you get elected to these positions, which, as I said, we have a multi-pronged kind of agenda there. One is, of course, to get more influence in the party, be a bigger part of the dialogue. And then 2, the more people you can get to come to the mass precinct meetings, the more people you can get to probably come to the convention. And the more votes you have at the convention, it's good. Even if they aren't ideologically aligned with you, if you're the one that talked them into coming, and they do to go to the convention, well, they'll probably look to you as to how to vote, because they'll probably have no clue what's going on, just like we did last time. So that basically kind of outlines the multi-pronged sort of approach here, the win-win that we get from having you elected as a precinct officer, and what you can do after that, and then also the byproduct of you going out and finding people to vote for you, which, like I said, I have walk lists and whatnot if you need them. If you want to, you have 2 weekends now to go out and just walk around and find 5 people. Is probably enough, all you need, depending on where you live, to sweep your precinct. Sky's the limit. Just send me an email back if you want your precinct walk lists to go and try and go meet some people, and see you on the 19th.